Hello everyone, I am Dishari Banerjee. I am doing private tuition for 5 years. I have completed my graduation in botany in 2020 from Calcutta University. Now I am pursuing my MSc in Kolani University on biotechnology. I am very excited to teach you today. I really love the teaching profession because in this profession you can develop yourself and your students as well. The students also enlightens me very much. They also motivates me a lot. So I am really very excited today. I am going to teach you the pollination in plants. I will cover the syllabus of class 9 ICSE board. In the pollination chapter, we should firstly know that what is pollination. So the pollination is the transfer of the pollen grain from one plant to the stigma of the same plant or the other. We can divide the pollination in three types, that is autogamy, geitonogamy and allogamy. Also, this autogamy and geitonogamy is the part of self-pollination, you can say, and this allogamy is cross-pollination. So what is self-pollination? Self-pollination is when the pollen grain of a plant falls on the stigma of the same plant. And if the pollen grain of a plant falls on the stigma of the different plant, that is cross-pollination. So what is autogamy then? Autogamy is when the pollen grain of a single flower of a particular plant falls on the stigma of that same flower. Okay? So that is autogamy. Auto means self. What is geitonogamy? When the pollen grain of a plant, of a flower of a plant falls on the different flower of that same plant, that is geitonogamy. And when the pollen grain of a flower of a plant falls on the different flower of a different plant, that is allogamy. It is same as cross-pollination. So this is the definition of the cross-pollination. Transfer of the pollen grains from anther of flowers of one plant to the stigma of flower of the other plant. Okay. So the cross-pollination is mediated by agents. Agents are those components which carry the pollen grains to the other flower. Okay. So the agents can be different kinds of agents are present. So it can be insect, it can be wind, it can be water, it can be bird, it can be any animal also, maybe elephant, maybe any other animal. Okay. So we will here discuss the insect mediated, wind mediated, water mediated pollinations. Okay. So the insect mediated pollination, for the insect mediated pollination, the flowers need to be large, colorful, and the flowers also have a definite scent. Okay. So that scent attract the insects to that flower, and the pollen grains should be sticky. The sticky pollen grains get attached to the insects body, and then the insects seeds to the other plant's flower, the pollination occurs. So we can see this insect mediated pollination in dahlia plant. So for the wind mediated pollination, the flowers need to be very small in size. The anther need to be light in weight, because the lightweight anthers, the pollen grains is easier to carried out by the winds. So the wind can carry out the light anthers or the pollen grains to the stigma of the other plant. So that is the way of the pollination in wind mediated pollinated plants. We can see this in maize. Water mediated pollination, for the water mediated pollination, the stems and the anthers of that flower need to be very elongated so that the flowers can float in the surface of the water. So we can see this in Vallisneria. Okay. And for the wind mediated plants, the flowers need to be dull in color, and there is no specific scent needed for this kind of flowers. So birds can also mediate the cross pollination. We call it the ornithophily. We can see this bird pollinated plant is begonia, and we can also artificially pollinate the flowers. We also do this in the labs. Okay. So the way is that we need to sprinkle the pollen grains of the male flower to the female flower's stigma. This is the way we can make the artificial pollination. Thank you for watching my video.